Help me reach 1,000 subscribes. Support the video with a like and leave your thoughts in the comments. I read every comment. Thanks. I never imagined a single weekend trip could redraw the entire map of my marriage. Emily had been excited about that wedding for weeks. Her college friend, Melissa, was getting married in Vermont, and Emily kept talking about the venue, the decor, the food, the girls' reunion she desperately needed. I encouraged it. I'd been buried in work and figured a couple of days away would do her good. Besides, after 12 steady years together, I thought trust was the one thing we didn't have to second guess. She left on Friday morning, suitcase rolling across the hardwood floor, her perfume trailing behind her. She gave me a quick kiss, too quick, now that I look back, and said, "Don't burn the house down while I'm gone." Light, playful, normal. Nothing that hinted at the storm building quietly on the horizon. Saturday evening, she sent me a text. "The ceremony was beautiful. You'd have loved it. Short, polite, dry." I figured she was busy with her friends, maybe a little tipsy, maybe drained from a long day. I didn't push. But Sunday morning, something felt off. She called me, and her voice sounded distant, like she was speaking from another room entirely, not the same hotel she and her friends had planned to share. I asked if everything was okay. She laughed a little too softly and said, "Yeah, just tired." That was all. She got home late Sunday night. I expected her to be buzzing with stories. Emily was the kind of woman who narrated every detail of an event, from the color of the table linens to the inside jokes between bridesmaids. But she walked in quiet, almost fragile, her eyes skimming over me like I was a piece of furniture she needed to avoid bumping into. I asked how the wedding went. It was fine. Just fine. She brushed past me and headed to the shower. I stood there in the hallway, listening to the water run, feeling something unfamiliar knot itself in my gut. Suspicion wasn't a language I spoke in our marriage, but that night it whispered. She went to bed early. I stayed up late, moving around the living room, trying to shake off the unease. When I finally went into the bedroom, she was curled away from me, clutching her pillow like a shield between us. I lay down, staring at the ceiling, wondering when the air between us had gotten so heavy. The next morning, her mood had completely flipped. She was humming while making coffee, scrolling through her phone with a tiny smile she didn't bother hiding. I'd seen that smile before, just never directed at anything that wasn't me. I tried to ask about the wedding again, and she gave me a vague rundown. The vows were sweet, the food was great, the music was amazing, but her eyes weren't on me when she said any of it. They were on whatever was lighting up her phone. I asked, "Everything okay?" She looked startled, then forced a laugh. "Yeah, I'm just tired. Long weekend." But she wasn't tired. She was glowing. And it wasn't because of some overpriced wedding bakery's cupcakes. That evening, while she cooked dinner, her phone buzzed on the counter. She didn't notice. Or maybe she did and pretended not to. The name on the screen flashed. Aaron. No last name. Just Aaron. I didn't touch the phone. I didn't need to. The way her face changed when she returned to the kitchen and saw the notification was enough. She snatched the phone like it was a burning secret and said, "Just a friend from a wedding." He was one of the groomsmen. I nodded, but inside, something sank. A groomsman doesn't text a married woman on a Monday evening with the kind of urgency I saw in her eyes. That night, she fell asleep instantly. I didn't. My mind kept replaying the last few days like a looping film. The dry text, the soft voice, the sudden distance, the sudden glow, the humming, the texting. It was all there, like puzzle pieces deliberately scattered just far enough apart. In the middle of the night, she shifted in her sleep and murmured something. I leaned closer. It wasn't my name, she whispered. I froze. In that moment, the quiet in our bedroom felt cold, foreign. Something in me cracked, not loudly, not dramatically, but with a soft, devastating precision of a truth finally arriving. The next morning, I made coffee for both of us. She came into the kitchen looking rested, hair tangled, eyes bright in a way I hadn't seen in months. She kissed my cheek lightly. "Morning." And that's when it hit me. She brought home something from that wedding. Something she wasn't planning to tell me about. Something that made her glow. I just didn't know yet how deep it went. By Wednesday, the tension in the house had become its own living thing, hovering between us like a secret neither of us wanted to name. Emily moved differently now, lighter, almost weightless, as if she'd been carrying something heavy for years and had suddenly set it down. But whatever she put down, I knew it wasn't me. I felt the absence of her attention. Like a cold draft coming in from an open window, she assumed I wouldn't notice. That evening, I walked into the living room and found her getting ready to go out. She didn't tell me she had plans. She was wearing a dress she hadn't touched in months. Blue, fitted, the one she used to joke made her feel dangerously alive. She stood by the mirror, adjusting her earrings, humming that same tune from Monday morning. "Where you headed?" I asked, trying to keep my voice even. "Oh," she said casually, "just meeting Melissa? She wants to show me some wedding photos." That was the first time her voice trembled. Not a lot, barely noticeable, but I'd spent 12 years learning every tiny fluctuation in her tone. That one was fear, not of me, but being caught in a story she hadn't rehearsed well enough. "All right," I said. "Have fun." She gave me a quick smile, too relieved, and grabbed her purse. The moment the door closed, I sat down and stared at the floor. Something inside me had shifted from suspicion to certainty. Not because of the dress. Not because of the trembling voice. Because love doesn't make you glow for someone else. Still, I needed the truth, not the version she'd offer, but the real one. So I did the one thing I'd always avoided in our marriage. I opened her laptop. I didn't snoop through her messages. I didn't dig through photos. I simply typed one thing into the search bar, her iCloud login, the password auto-filled. Inside, there were no scandalous pictures, no long threads of passionate messages, no explicit evidence of betrayal. What I did find was worse, clean, curated, intentional. A single folder labeled Vermont. Inside, it were just 12 photos, not the full wedding album she'd gush about before leaving. 12, and each one told a story she didn't plan for me to see. Most were harmless, group shots, table selfies, dance floor candids. But the last one, the one taken on Saturday night, told me everything. Emily stood by a fire pit, wrapped in someone's jacket. A man, tall, dark-haired, with an easy smile, had his arm around her waist. Not casually, not accidentally. Comfortably, like someone who'd earned the right to touch her that way. Her head was on his shoulder. His name tag, faint in the corner, read Erin. I didn't rage. I didn't throw anything. I simply stared at the image until the details blurred. I remembered the glow she had Monday morning, the humming, the soft smile, the whisper in her sleep that wasn't mine. It all lined up like constellations I'd been too blind to see. When Emily returned later that night, smelling of wine and winter air, she looked startled to find me awake on the couch. "You're up?" she said. "Yeah," I replied. "How was Melissa?" She hesitated. "Good. We just talked." A small lie added to a growing mountain. "Emily," I said softly, "can we talk?" Her eyes widened, the kind of widening that comes from instinct, not choice. "What's wrong?" I turned the laptop toward her. The photo glowed between us. For a moment, she didn't breathe. Then she whispered, "Daniel, it's not what it looks like." That line, so predictable, so rehearsed, hit me harder than the picture. "Then tell me what it is," I said, voice steady. She reached for the laptop, then paused, her hand trembling midair, her eyes filled with a fear I'd never seen in her before. "Daniel," she said again, softer, "I don't know how to explain it." That was the truth, and it was the deepest cut. Because love can get messy. Love can fall apart. But betrayal, the real irreversible kind, only needs one thing. A moment you can't explain. I closed the laptop gently. "I'm filing for divorce," I said. She gasped like I'd slapped her. "Daniel, wait, please. This is crazy. Can we talk about this?" "We are talking," I said, "but you already made your choice. At that wedding." Her face collapsed into her hands. She sobbed, loud, broken sob that filled the room. For years, I would have rushed to comfort her. But this time, I just stood there, feeling the strangest thing. Relief, because the truth wasn't heavy anymore. It was clear. She looked up, mascara streaked, eyes frantic. Daniel, he meant nothing. It was stupid. I was drunk. I was emotional. I don't even know why. But the thing about betrayal is simple. If it meant nothing, you wouldn't hide it. I'm done, Emily, I said quietly. You came home with more than memories. That's something I can't unsee. Her sobs echoed after my footsteps as I walked away. And for the first time in months, the air didn't feel heavy at all.